as you know, you're in the Midwest too. It's snowy right now. It's not snowing, but it's cold.
Yeah, I'm in
And
Chicago
man,
because
I'm telling you, I know, Windy City, hey,
I,
my
I
favorite
was
place.
I was out there running around with my daughter today, and I was like, "Oh, the hawk is out."
Right, exactly.
It's out. I'm so happy I get to talk to you. I saw you on the narrators thing that y'all did where all the narrators was on there and you were talking, but I
Yeah,
wanted to hear more from you personally. So
I
I'm so
appreciate
happy
that.
you agreed to come on here and talk to me.
It's such an honor. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And, I totally respect the fact that I'm just going to address this right now. And it's not like in a negative way or anything like that. I know you were like, well, I don't know that much about him and I haven't seen, many things that he's done or whatnot. One of the reasons, and I'm going to be very transparent,
Mhm.
is I use a pseudonym
Ah,
because I do for some reason or another, it just seems like my voice is well suited for erotica.
well,
So, and I'm proud of that. I'm very,
that's good.
I enjoy what I've done, and there have been a number of different projects that I've worked on. And I will tell you what my pseudonym is. It's Mark Champagne. And I know that seems like, okay, what a name. Um, but at an early age, I started in radio, and
Mhm.
I used to live in Los Angeles, California. That's where I was born and raised. But I'm in the Midwest now. But yeah, that was my pseudonym for my radio personality,
Mm.
and I would do my show in the evening at about 11 o'clock. Or it would air at about 11 to about 12:30 in Hawaii. And I kind of didn't want my parents to find out about it, but they did. But I kind of kept that name, and it just stuck with me to be able to do other creative projects. And so Mark Champagne was one that I have utilized, especially when it came down to doing a number of different um, I've done a lot of short stories.
Mhm.
I've done currently two books that, again, under that are all erotica. Um, and again, more transparency. Many of them have been gay or bisexual erotica. Just the author reached out to me, and I know that I had some demos that were out on my profile, and they contacted me and they were like, I really love your voice. I really want you to be able to, here's a couple of stories. Please take a look at them. I would love for you to read them and tell me what you think. But your voice, I feel, is very well suited for my stories. So if you're, willing to, go along this journey with me, I've got about 15 other short stories and everything that I would love for you to do. And I was like, okay. I didn't have a problem with it, and other authors also reached out in reference to doing those were short stories. The other two were books where it was like 69,000, the other was 82,000 words. And I was proud of the work that I still am proud of the work that I've done.
Good. Oh
You
my
know,
God. Wesley, why the hell you didn't tell me that so I could have put it on your damn thing?
I know, I know. I just wanted to kind of like mention it now and to put that out there and to actually speak on it myself so that to inform you as well as to inform your listeners and anyone the audience that are listening as well. So I am I'm grateful for this opportunity, the fact that you wanted to find out more about me and just giving me this opportunity to put my voice out there. So thank you.
I'm very curious about narrators.
Yeah.
Even though I am not an audiobook girly, I'm just curious on y'all stance on literary anything,
Right.
because it's a lot. Y'all are using your tool, your voice, to voice these characters that in our head sounds one way. And so the
Exactly.
author has to pick the right voice for that. So
Right.
I'm so curious about you guys because That's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure, and it is a lot of work as well. I think some friends were asking me, I'm thinking maybe I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but about, goals for 2025. And,
Mm,
I told them what some my goals were. One specifically, and I wanted to be very focused with saying this, that
mm.
I have an intention of reading or narrating 8 books for the upcoming year.
Ooh,
And while this past year it's been like 2, maybe 3 books, I mean, aside from the short stories, I feel I need to actually make some progression. And if I set a goal, that I have, that hopefully that it will, I look for it to manifest and for it to actually happen. But in
great.
saying that, they were like, well, why 8? Why that particular number? I know for what I have done in the short story as well as the books that I've already done, it takes some work. It really
Hmm.
does. I mean, you really have to sit down and, in for myself, even before really putting myself into, the the space of being a narrator, I read through an entire script so that I could get a feel of the different characters. I'm a person from long ago when I was like 13, 14 years old, and my family knows about this very well. So it's not something that I have to hide or worry about. But I did characters. I would sit in my room as a child or whatever, as a young teenager, and I would create an entire script and have 4 or 5 different characters, all created, by myself. And my family would be like, "This fool is in his room creating voices and everything," not knowing that to this day I could have probably recorded those or kept that as a recording and used that as a demo tape
Hmm.
for future voiceover, voice acting,
Yeah.
narration. And it was just something that I love to do. Now that I've come what seems like full circle to me, it's something that I really enjoy doing. But it takes work. The
It does.
editing that comes along with it. I mean, going through those scripts and highlighting, and everyone has their own different process of how they are reviewing each of the characters and highlighting, maybe a particular dialect or how they're speaking for that portion of a chapter or
Yeah.
for the character. All of that really does take some time. And again, everyone has their own process on how they do that.
Hmm.
So I know what works for me. I know that I have definitely taken some pointers from some other narrators
Hmm.
that I look up to and that I appreciate, and that's what I try to incorporate. So it does take some time, and I appreciate the fact that you appreciate that as well as your audience as well, and they realize that this is not just something. Oh, you could get a mic, sit in a room, and just do it.
Hmm.
It is something that you have to practice on. There has to be growth. There has to be a learning process. And I'm not saying that I'm any perfect person when it comes down to narration. I see that you have talked to many authors as well as narrators too, and they've spoken on that same process of it is something that you have to work on. It can't just be
Yeah.
something I'm going to pick up and just I'm going to do, you know there has to be a skill set that goes along with it, whether it be acting, not just acting, but sometimes I do right now. I talk with my hands, but also that helps with setting a tone and the expressions, breath work, all of that goes along with being a narrator. All of that is incorporated in the process that you have to do as being a narrator for any story, for any author, especially if you're trying to do a very good job for it.
Yeah. What are the pitfalls of, just being in this space and having to deal with, if it's not AI shit, it's sometimes, and it's not knocking white narrators, but
Mhm.
sometimes they take y'all slots in things that is not appropriate for their ethnicity.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they don't. There's tonation. There is being able to use, and I'm just going to be very honest. Sometimes colloquialisms, the way that things are pronounced, you
Mm.
know, it can't. it can't come across appropriately
Yes.
unless an actual person is actually doing it and expressing it, is presenting that story.
Yeah.
Of course, AI could only do so much. I mean, based upon what the words are written on a page or what it's being presented with. But a
Mhm.
person, an actual individual, is able to put, if they're feeling rushed or they're feeling stressed out, you could tell to change the tone. You could the speed on how you're talking with someone. Maybe you soften it because you want to talk to them in a way of showing care or
Mhm.
love or an expression of, I really have this feeling towards this person. AI can only do so much.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. So, what about Mo asked a question. She said that what is something you would not narrate? Let me make
You
sure I
know,
got that question right.
no, certainly. It's a great very
Oh,
great
is there
question.
any genre you wouldn't narrate for?
No, I mean, I think if someone approached me and said, I have a book, I'm just going to be very straightforward with it. If it's about the KKK or something about hate or something like that, I no, I don't think I would be willing to.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone has their point in life where they feel like this needs to be a representation of who I am. Um, is this something that I'm willing to really stand by? And if someone says, I want you to talk about this, you know, from this level,
Hmm.
I don't think that I would be able to portray that honestly and properly. Hate is not something that, in any aspect, is something that I could honestly say that, if I were asked to speak on it, to read about it, narrate, I could honestly do,
Now,
because it's something that's heartfelt. I mean, stories are heartfelt. You really have to
yeah.
have a connection with what you're reading and what you're narrating.
Now you said that you have done a lot of erotica.
Hmm.
Now, how do you get in a mind frame to get in those get in that mindset of erotica? Because erotica is erotica.
Erotica is erotica, exactly. Let me preface this by first saying, um, I feel personally erotica that's written by a person that's white
Hmm.
versus a person that is black is very different.
Hmm.
And I'll give you a very good example, very briefly. There's a book that I have narrated. It's called The Dungeon, and it's written in a certain time, like the 18th century or whatever. I mean, it's very white forward. And forgive me if I don't know how to what extent I could use certain words or whatever, but I will use one specifically. I know that uh, in this book, or in this particular book, I counted how many times, and everyone,
Please
please,
don't say the word cock.
no,
Please. Oh, because I hate that word.
no, I don't like it either. Cunnilingus.
Oh,
I exactly. Oh, he performed cunnilingus on her. You know,
there was no, he went down, he ate her out.
no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Versus if it were for that of urban or black author or whatever, there will be a different approach. I mean, really, honestly, what black person is gonna be like? He performed cunnilingus on
I
her.
would close the book so quick.
Oh man.
I would close it so quick, but
Right.
it's a period piece.
Mm.
I look, I there are certain words that will trigger the fuck out of me to DNF a book. Congaling is that what cock will
Right.
do it every time. That one word would, I don't care how good the book is. If I see
Right.
it,
Exactly. No, for sure. And so you see that there would be a difference, between black and white.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I,
And I
I
think it's
don't know.
also a cultural difference,
Very much so. Very
and
much so.
because when you think about sexuality, and I say this often because by being in BDSM myself,
Hmm.
um
Hey,
um
missed it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm a dom, but the thing about it is there's a difference. There's BDSM and then there's black BDSM.
Right.
So when I look at books, that's how I look at it. In
Hmm.
the sense, especially with erotica, it's like is their idea of erotica and our idea of erotica.
Right. And I think that's why when it comes down to, because of all the ones that I have done, um, that's why I felt it was so important. And if anyone has looked at my profile, I made a video maybe a few weeks ago, probably a couple of months ago, speaking directly to Black authors. Um, I love whomever I've read for, or whatever, but I have not had the opportunity to really read for a Black author. And uh, erotica. Really any work, but just specifically erotica, because I want to be able to not just show my range or what I am able to do, but I know that there's a defining difference between the two.
Hmm.
Um, More vulnerability or transparency. I was told at one point that, oh, my diction is too, it's not black enough. And so that's why they felt that I hadn't been chosen for a specific book or whatever. And I was like, okay, I take that, received or whatever, but I don't. Maybe if you give me a chance or give me an opportunity or whatever, but I have to respect it or whatever. But it made me think that, okay, well, I know that I've read for books that by white authors that are erotica, and I know the difference. I could feel the difference when I've gone to audition or read for auditions for black authors, and I could get into that role. I could get into that moment. Um, but I guess that again, there's that feeling of maybe they're not familiar, maybe they're not familiar with the work that I've done, or don't know, can he really do it, because he already sounds, someone told me I sound like Carlton to a certain extent. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, no pity party, because I know my voice is good for somebody, and I'm happy with.
Your look, your voice is good for contemporary romance.
Okay,
Your
thank
it's
you.
not if you're gonna look on the black side, and I'm gonna be 100% transparent.
I appreciate it.
Um, I listen to your voice and I'm hearing you, and I'm listening to the way you speak. Um, Contemporary romance, historical fiction.
Yeah.
Um, I do believe that you can do even sci-fi, fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Paranormal. You have a voice for those particular genres.
Exactly.
Cowboy even.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I do not see you doing urban or street lit, but
Okay.
I do because I think that range for urban and street lit, um, it's more so like a Miles Washington for urban street lit.
Yes. And I love Miles Washington. I really do. I really do. I know that everyone has their own unique voice.
Yeah.
I know that I have mine. I realize that what he does, I'm like, go ahead, brother. Handle that. And even when I try to kind of like, I'm going to try to read exactly what he read, and I'm like, that doesn't come across very well, brother. It
But
doesn't come
I do
across.
think you are more of like a Danielle Brooks,
Okay.
Kennedy Ryan,
I appreciate that. I feel like I should be writing this down.
what's her name? Tati Richardson. Uh, who else? Uh, and I'll send you some authors, but
Oh,
you have
please.
a
I appreciate that.
contemporary voice, and you said that you have done male on male type
Yes.
erotica. You have Jaylee Fields, who that's
Mm,
all she writes,
okay.
and you just have the voice.
Thank you.
It just, I just feel like you don't have the voice. Yeah, a rich black billionaire type. You give that type of voice. So I can see you doing some contemporary romance,
Okay.
even some psychological thrillers,
Yes. And I
stuff
love
like,
those are
or
types of books that I
suspense.
love doing. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Look at Mo. Mo, she
She's
writes.
talking. She's
Mo
talking.
Mo Flames is an author, and she writes romance suspense. She's the queen of plot twists.
Come
So
on.
she has a whole series, you know, and you should check it out. One Ain't Enough series,
Okay.
and she has all these books with all these different points of views and characters, but it's very romance suspense,
Okay.
and sometimes even psychological because she be fucking me up, but it's a good series. Those are the type of series I see you in. Tati Richardson, she has a series called The Oath, and it's like a poly situation, but she's coming out with a book called Losing Sight, and you fit that character's voice. Um,
I love this. Thank you.
who else? Danielle Brooks, she has a billionaire. Nina Hyde, she has it's like Abbott Elementary, but a romance version.
Okay.
And she has this book, and I see you as one of the teachers.
Hey, I appreciate the recommendations because while I am out here definitely reaching out, and I know again there's still more work that I personally have to do. I have to also be out in networking more and being at events and so forth. That is definitely something that for 2025 that is also part of my goals that I'm definitely going to accomplish.
Did
Um,
you sign up for the Black Romance Readers Fest as a
when?
narrator?
No, when is that?
That's in the end of May. You need to go to their site, and I could see that too, Cassandra. Mutual obsession. He's the rich grandfather. Yeah, I could see that.
Mm, okay.
I They have a festival. I don't know if it's still open because they sold out quick,
Oh
but I
wow.
think
Okay.
they're accepting more narrators. I don't
Okay.
think they're accepting any more authors, but I think they're accepting narrators. So, because I know Miles is going to be there,
Okay.
Not Jacoby, but shit, I can't think.
DL? Is DL
Um,
going to be there or is
is
that
who?
LB? I'm sorry, LB. LB.
I think he's going to be there as well. So I mean, this will be a good place for you to, you know, and not to mention ours, the me and Shannon's the Boozy Book Tour in
Yes.
Arlington. We're having one that's dedicated to narrators,
Right?
so you could be there with authors and mix and mingle with those authors to, you know, because I know this past one with in Houston, D. Lewis came with his setup
Mhm.
and he let people listen to his audio, and they were purchasing audio.
Isn't there a Boozy Book Tour that's going to be in Las Vegas, I believe? Isn't that in March?
Yeah, no, that's in 2026.
Okay.
This one coming up is in Tulsa, and
Okay.
that is going to be in February.
Okay. February. All right. Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right. I'm gonna have to go on the website and go check that out because I must have had my dates mixed up or something like that. But because I knew that there was one that was coming up in February or March, and I thought it was in Vegas, so I will definitely align with that and try to get involved or definitely get assigned to that. So
Yeah, please do, because
yeah.
I mean, you have ours, you have the book reader. I keep fucking their shit up, but it's called I think it's the Black Read Romance Book Festival, something like that.
Okay.
But they have a page here on TikTok and on Instagram, and they have a
Okay.
link in there. And try to see if there's any spots for a narration.
I will definitely do that because that's like again, I've been doing narration for about 5 years now, and I haven't like put all of that out there. Uh, just sometimes you have to move. For me, I like to move in silence. I'm a Virgo, so I don't know, but it's not everyone that you're going to just tell your business to or what you're
Right.
doing. And so, they know me as a person that does a radio show, in St. Paul, Minnesota. Other close friends do know that I, am doing audiobook narration. I've worked with a few companies that I've worked for, that I've done audio voiceover with work for, and they've loved it. We've gotten a great, build a great relationship and everything. But doing the audiobook narration is something that has been kind of like my heart, because it allows me to get into the story, but also to get into character and to use those different voices. And my voice doesn't really change very, very much. I can't
Mhm.
say that, oh, I know it to do a Irish, voice, or, you know, my parents are from Central America, so I could definitely switch into being, Afro Caribbean, and be that and have that dialect and so forth, and speaking
But you know
Creole.
what? There's a
Mhm.
lot of books that have that. It's an
Correct.
author named Cher Therese. She's a
Hmm.
multicultural author, and she deals with African, Afro Caribbean, and American.
Hmm.
So there is a niche for you. Now, like I said, street lit and urban fiction is not for you because
Thank
that's
you.
not the voice for you.
I
But
appreciate
contemporary for fantasy, sci-fi, hell, manga,
it.
um,
Mm.
anime, paranormal, and sci-fi, you and romance suspense, you have that voice. Even psychological thrillers, you have the voice for that. And there are
Uh,
a plethora of black authors
mm.
that write those genres who want to do audiobooks, but they can't find, and it's crazy because they'll find someone who is more urban lit and street lit to
Mm.
do those books when you should be
I'm
doing
here.
those
I'm
books.
here.
But you also got to market yourself.
Yes, very much so. Even more so. Again, all things that I'm doing growth on for myself, and for goals for 2025 even further.
Mm-hmm.
I while I have been doing this for the time period that I mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's also been a learning process for me to understand about marketing myself and putting myself out there. Definitely networking more, having conversations like this, like with yourself and other individuals that are in the book world more so, with great suggestions and recommendations on the type of range for my voice, because they read so much and they understand you're the type of voice that I want to hear for that type of genre or that character or something. So I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate all of that, and it's definitely taken to heart. It's not something that's just, oh, well, thanks, as a compliment. No, this is something that I'm really taking very seriously, and I appreciate, because it's something that I've always, when you're in your own head, you think, oh, I'm good for this, or I could do this, I could do that. But it takes someone from the outside, or that's listening to your voice, or that has read or heard what you have done in the past, and like, nah, you need to stay in this lane. Don't try to
Yeah.
go over there, because that's not going to come across as very authentic. It's going to
Yeah.
come across as, you trying a little bit too hard, and people are not going to really appreciate it. They're going to be like, I don't know who got this person to read this book.
Yeah.
It's the wrong one.
But
So,
I feel like even as doing podcasts, anybody that comes on here, I'm gonna be very open and honest about whether they take that offensively or take
right.
it as me really just caring to say this to them. That's on them. But I promise you, I would never sit up here and lie to you and say, "Hey, yeah, you good." No, because I want you to succeed. So I need to tell you the truth.
No, and I definitely, it's appreciated, because you also, as a person that is trying to provide, someone an opportunity to get themselves involved in a story, you want to do the very best
Mm.
for that author, but also to draw that person in with the gift that you have, or the skills that you have in trying to relay who that character is, what the story is. And if they don't feel that authenticity, or understand that this is your genre that you should be in, it's not going to come across. And like you said, they're going to close that book or stop that audio book,
Yeah.
from playing, and then be like, yeah, this is wrong. This is not right.
Yeah.
I have a question for really quick for Miss Mo.
Mo
Mo's
Flames.
point, right? What does she mean by? I mean, I was just asking. It's like Afro Caribbean. He says no. My parents are from Central America, and that's just. I just want to kind of like clarify that and everything.
She
So
says she's here.
yeah, I was just asking. Um, that's my parents are from Belize. Both parents, so it's not like oh. And that's I guess that's something that a lot of times that could be a conversation in itself, but literally I am very proud of my Afro Caribbean, or some folks Afro Latino side. I love it.
I mean, my children are Afro Cuban.
Hey,
My husband is Afro Puerto Rican. He's black and Puerto Rican.
hey,
My kids are Cuban and black.
all beautiful cultures and everything. So come on.
So I understand. There's a niche for it. You know what I'm saying? There where people seem to not think it is, but a lot of people don't read diversely.
Okay.
That's the problem. And a lot of people get stuck in these one particular genres and they missed out on others. So you may not see these authors that need to hear your voice.
Right.
And this is where it goes into doing a little digging.
Right.
Because if you go into you can go into Black Booktalk and you can say multicultural books. Those authors' videos are going to come up.
Right.
And if you go into MM erotica books, them books are going to come up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you just got to put black in front of it.
Got it.
Because when you just put the theme, you're going to get white before us.
Understood.
Ooh.
Bless you.
Thank you. So that's just something, and that's something for everybody, because a lot of times people don't know how to market themselves. Hell, I'm still learning.
Very much so.
And so a lot of people don't know how to market themselves, and so they miss out on things because they don't know. Thank you guys. They don't know how to market themselves. And I stress this so much with anybody that I talk to on this podcast. You have to use social media as a tool to help you succeed.
Very true.
Even if this app was to go away, there is a plethora of apps
Of course.
that y'all can get on and reach out to a lot of the authors. Because I literally want y'all to succeed. And the more I see a lot of these narrators, I may not listen to y'all. I'm sorry, y'all make me go to sleep. But I may not listen to y'all as far as audiobooks, but I do think that it's a lot of us that do.
Okay.
And we can't listen to the same fucking voices all the fucking time.
Yes.
I love the fact that everybody is Jacoby crazy. But
you need change.
There's always room for change.
Yes, exactly.
So I need you to step up your marketing game, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I hear you.
So and then my next question to you is, as a black male in just literary in general, how do you feel with the climate of as far as politically when it comes to banning books? Because banning books also means banning audiobooks.
Right, exactly.
So how do you feel with such a drastic action that's being taken by people like Moms of Liberty and the Republicans? And I'm not even talking about presidential wise. I'm talking about local.
Local.
Exactly. People don't realize the local is the problem.
I feel strongly about preserving literature.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a person that, from a young age, and I only draw from that because it speaks to how long I've appreciated, being in, writing or reading, that type of going in that path. I felt that the only way to really tell a person's true story or emotions is by having a book, reading a book. I mean, it's great that, and that's the first and foremost part of getting involved in someone's life is having a book. And whether it be historical, biographical, autobiographical, having that book. I'm a tangible person, so I like being able to turn a page. I'm picking up a book, looking at that cover, reading the profile of the author, turning that next page. It's great about all the others that we do have, like the Kindles, etc., even the audiobooks or whatnot. But I'm saying overall, just to have the ability to have the books and literature that you could hear about a person's life, that's
Mm-hmm.
important. you know i I don't think that, I'm a person, I need to be better at it, believe me, but with everyone being so busy the way that I love writing in a journal. I love picking up a pen and
Yes.
writing down my thoughts and so forth. And what better way to continue to have for other folks to understand about a person's life is to have books, to
Yeah.
have that literature. Banning books is not the way to go. All it is really suppressing a person, one person or one group of people, suppressing another person's opportunity, one, to I feel, to learn about either their history, their culture, another person's culture, because there are people that want to learn about other people's culture because they're interested in it, because they love it, because you know what are we going to start banning? I mean, yeah, you have these wonderful books of people being creative, but what if there are cookbooks and so forth that, if you're not familiar, oftentimes cookbooks aren't just the recipes. They're about a person's life. They tell their stories. All of that. What are you going to start doing is banning them because they're of another culture and you don't appreciate it, or you feel like, no, that person doesn't have any type of importance here in America or whatever country that you're in. No, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah. So how do you sit in your blackness when it comes to being a voice narrator? Regardless of you doing books for white authors, how do you sit in your blackness within the literary world without losing yourself?
That's hard.
Mm,
I'm not even gonna lie. It's hard, because at times people want to pigeonhole you.
mm,
You find yourself you find yourself feeling like this is all I'm able to do, or this is what the only thing that I seem to be able to narrate, or to that would others would find pleasing.
mm,
So I personally have to try to find ways. I mean, it doesn't come very often, but I have to try to find ways that speak towards, one, my culture, speaks towards who I am as a black male,
mm,
and come up with maybe a very short script. You come up with something that speaks to maybe the experience that I've had, either in my past as a young man or just as a man, period.
mm.
Speaking towards my life growing up with my family members, all of that. I try to think of it as that's the way for me to be able to, as you say, sit in that.
Mhm.
And that's the only thing that I know how to do right now. I think I've learned that oftentimes you have to create your um, own situation, scene, whatever, so that you're recognizing that others are not going to create it for you, so you've got to do it for yourself. And hopefully, as where marketing needs to come into play, yes, that others will then start to see it and recognize it's like, oh, okay, I see where this man is coming from. You have to do it for yourself. You
Yeah.
can't really rely on others to do it for you. Again, there's where that authenticity comes into play, because if you don't believe it, how are you going to be able to express it through someone else's writing just because they're black? No, you have to also understand that as well.
Right. So, how do you, as you've been in erotica, how do you maintain the sexuality and the intimacy of those stories without coming off cringy, without coming off as over the top?
Creepy and everything. Yeah. Uh, I don't, I guess I'm, I have to say that I look at it as when you're a person, and this is again just coming from my own perspective, when you're a person that you love, or you love, I'm sorry, sexualness,
Ah,
you're not gonna do it in a way that is gonna come across as, yeah, I'm gonna get this, or just so hard. I don't know, maybe that was the wrong thing to but I'm just saying that for me, that's how I'm able to do it. Um, I think of the sensuality of it, not just the act of doing it or wanting to do it.
mm,
I I want to, again, it's all about drawing a person in, and if I'm able to use my voice to draw a person in and be able to close their eyes and appreciate, gosh, his voice sounds so alluring or velvety or just sexy that I just want to sit and listen to it. And the way that he's able to portray the story in a manner that is not coming across so like rough,
mm.
or in a way that that's just gonna make me feel like, oh gosh, I just feel ill. Why is he talking that way? That's what I want to portray. I want to be able to use my voice in that manner and be able to tell that story that folks could get aroused,
Mhm.
and that they are able to appreciate that, yeah, this man is actually speaking towards my soul. He's speaking
Mm.
towards my heart. He's trying to actually, corny as it is, massage my mind and just kind of like reach into it and make me think about the words that he's saying, and not just, ooh, damn. You know what I mean?
And this is why I say contemporary romance is free.
Thank you.
That's why I said that exactly how you just put that. That's contemporary romance right there.
Mm.
Whereas street lit and urban fiction is just
Ain't
like,
for
let me
me.
yoke your ass up,
Right,
bend you
exactly.
over, touch your ankles type shit.
Right, exactly.
That's urban fiction and street lit. But what you just explained
Yeah,
is more of a contemporary love, a contemporary sensual scene.
I understood. I look at some of the comments, and
I'm
some
not paying attention to D
I
Lewis.
know. I'm just saying that I hear them too. I totally understand, but you're making a very good point, because wherein I think that, I thought that I needed to be in that type of space, you're
Mm,
telling me, as a person that definitely reads, many other type of books or whatever, be who I am, and use that, and you and let that be my foundation of growing from there, rather than trying to say I need to get into this other space that really I kind of don't have any business to be in, because that's the only way that I'm going to be successful. Is if, and someone mentioned a moment ago, I can't, oh, DL Lewis, uh D Lewis, excuse me. He mentioned, use, who I am,
mm,
and to sit with that, and realize that that's what your niche is. That's where your genre, lies.
yeah.
And I can't feel like I need to push myself to be in a space where, and that's the cringy part. I'm not taking that away from anybody, because and I wouldn't talk to say that it's cringy. It's just the fact that, sometimes they want it raw, and I don't want to put raw, but they want it kind of a certain type of way, you
But
know.
but see that's the thing. Cringy in okay, let me explain from a reader's point of view.
Hmm.
Cringy in a reader's point of view is like when I say I don't like the word cock,
Hmm.
that is cringy to
Right.
me.
It's like, ugh.
Not saying that he's going down on her and saying Congolese.
Right.
That is cringy to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, if the author said, I need you to be rough,
Right.
raw, that is not cringy to me. That's
Mm.
just he about to knock the Sonic coins out of her ass.
Right.
So that's not cringy. So it's a difference. I mean, and this is where I say the cultural difference comes into play with a lot of things.
Right.
A lot of things where someone outside of black culture or POC culture will
Yes.
say that is rough. That,
Right.
and we're
I
just
can't do
like,
that. I can't handle that.
right, where we would say be like, what? That's normal.
Right. That's hot. That's like, come
Right.
on.
That's
Speak to me
but
more.
but same with books that are written by white authors.
Right.
We see those words and we be like, you couldn't find no other word?
Right. It's
Not
like,
nothing?
who are you trying to write for? Who are you trying to pretend for?
That that's now that would be cringy. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But
Right.
yoking a motherfucker up and bending her over sideways to check her attitude is not cringy to me. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
So also, do you feel like that a lot of black narrators are overshadowed by their white counterparts when it comes to big jobs with the traditionally publishing houses?
Yes. It almost feels like they only see them for one type of narration. And you just say it, I'm just like, oh yeah, those urban ones, yeah, they could stay over there. That's what they're good for. That's what,
Yeah,
because they know how to speak that street love.
yeah,
Sorry, that's wrong. But I'm just saying that's the impression that I get. Oftentimes when you I don't see many black narrators really into the other genres as much as just being in urban,
yes,
urban romance. I don't know why that is, because there are so many folks so many narrators that they speak very eloquently. They could cover those different genres, whether it be
yeah.
documentary or autobiography, the scientific,
Hmm.
science fiction or whatever. But for some reason or another, I don't know. I just don't see it as much or as often.
I think it's because even though we say we're not a monolith,
Mhm.
the rich white folks see us as a monolith.
Yes, of course, of course.
So when they look for authors that are black,
Mm.
and they just think we're all the same, unless we come in there uh, dressed to appease them, speaking to appease. I just don't understand this world sometimes.
Right.
I've been in the military. I've been around the world multiple times, and it's only America that
Mm.
has the biggest problems. And it's like we all are from different regions of the world. We're all
Exactly.
from different states in the United States, and everybody has a different way of speaking.
Exactly.
But and yet they lump us all in because of our skin color into one monolithic thing. It's so weird to me.
All right. It is odd. And it's a bit disheartening, but at the same time, I over this time period is where I have learned to again start leaning toward even more towards black authors and narrators and book reviewers such as
Yeah.
yourself to showcase individuals that are doing this type of work,
Hmm.
because it is important, and it's the various types that can be done, whether it be horror, romance, uh young adult, all of those different various types, because those are all also areas that I feel like it doesn't seem like there are a lot of um they are foreshadowed by many white authors.
Yeah.
For some reason or another, they feel like it's maybe we don't have the appropriate perspective. But who considers that appropriate? Is it
Yeah.
because you just don't think that we could have those type of perspectives, or those having opinions on those, it's like it's because you've never really considered it. So it's important for those voices to be out there and for those opinions and perspectives to be showcased and put to the forefront. And the only way to do that is, again, having these type of conversations,
Yeah.
being in spaces of and creating our own spaces. You
Yeah.
know, whether it be the black, boozy book, black boozy book tour, or romance fed, the Black Romance Fest, all these other different areas where you know I would say literally 10 years ago I wouldn't recall seeing any type of festivals like this at
Mhm.
all, you know.
Because it was only the Essence Festival, and as I said yesterday, the Essence Festival has went from being a black homecoming and family reunion to a
Uh,
commercialized money grab.
Correct.
So they have lost their own way.
Of course. I
Um,
mean, and we've seen that in the news. I apologize for interrupting, but we've
but
seen
you
that in the news where folks are saying that basically Essence Fest, or some people or the organization have really kind of like gone into a city, or I don't know what cities they're in or whatever, but they basically have prevented other businesses, black businesses, small
in New
businesses,
Orleans,
to actually do business
yeah,
because they feel like, oh, you can't do this during this time period and whatever. How are you able to do that? You're personally, as they say, be your own people at times, but you can't come in and try to gentrify a situation that was meant to be for black folks.
that's because people lose their way when money is involved.
Excuse me.
Was that a cough or a sneeze?
That was a cough. Sorry.
Okay. When money is involved, a lot of people. How can I put this? I've been offending people all week, so I'm
Oh
just
boy.
um I'm trying. Um when money is involved, a lot of times us as black people tend to sambo our way
Oh boy.
to the white side, and we forget who we are. And then us as black people, if we get too much attention on something that it should be positive that we are doing for our community, we get this ego driven mentality
Oh boy.
that everybody is below us. We see it on social media. We see it with corporations that were supposed to be for us by us. Um, Once they get to a certain level, they become arrogant and they
Mm,
forget the people that got them there. Um, it's about not being humble, and honestly, it's like a generational thing from the ones that was in the big house to the ones that was in the field.
right.
So it's just like, oh, they done they have brought me in, but y'all got to stay out there though.
Right.
But please buy the tickets. You know what I'm saying? Please come to the event, type deal. So I feel like we have lost our way.
Mm,
Once, and I'm not saying, and this is a general thing. I'm not saying one particular thing. This is in general. This goes for celebrities. This goes for influencers. This goes across the board. We even have family members that get big jobs and
for
forget
sure.
where they come from.
Very sure. Very true.
So it's the same in the literary world. You know what I'm saying? They forgot the humble beginnings, and once they made it big, they said fuck everybody else.
Does that mean that because I I want to be positive and think of it as we want to, rather than trying to be gatekeepers about certain
Hmm.
things, you know what, what are you afraid of? I mean, like we've just mentioned, like you just mentioned, my voice might not be great for such and such, but my voice will be great for this over
Yeah.
here. Why do you think that we're in competition in that regard? Because the tonation that I might have, my diction, my this, my how I, present or prepare or do a specific narration is not going to be the same as I'm not knocking Miles is all. It's not going to be the same as Miles. It's not going to
Yeah.
be the same as this person over here, whatever. So we have our different gifts and
Yeah.
ways that we're able to do things. So why is it that it feels like you can't help somebody or provide them with maybe a little bit of coaching or not even coaching? Just, hey, brother, you did a good job. I think though you probably could you would even go further by doing such and such.
Yeah.
Or why don't you take into consideration maybe this class or maybe or something like that. This is not trying to tell you what to do, but just like this is what I've done, how I've been able to, give do these different type of projects.
Mm.
I want to see you do the same thing or have your opportunity to be able to do that as well. Why not? Why is that not something that can be done within us as a community?
Oh God, you about to have me get in trouble, but it's
Get
okay.
in trouble.
It's
I love
okay.
getting
It's
in
okay.
trouble.
I'm sure everybody is used to this. Um, First and foremost, a lot of people don't understand that the table that was built by somebody else can be built in right next to it. Another
Right,
table can be built right next to it with a whole bunch of other different seats. Because regardless of what the foundation was and the blueprint was, it's never the same.
right,
It's never
exactly.
the same. But people negate the fact that we, once again, are not a monolith.
Right,
We are not a hive mind. So they want to gatekeep something that really isn't theirs to gatekeep.
right.
Because even when you gatekeep it, somebody finds out how to do it anyway.
Oh, exactly.
And so right now, I just feel like everybody's trying to get that rush of popularity and being number one. They don't understand the ideal to reach back and pull the next person. Yes, once you get there, reach back.
But also understand too that it's a long game too, because
Yes.
rather than trying to just, I want to be number one, I want to be number one, I need to get this right now. I
Yes.
mean, fine, there's nothing wrong with feeling that way because you want to do that, but also as quickly as you get to be number one, you could become a number two or
Exactly.
number three, and then you're
I
like, dang,
I always say it's better to play chess than checkers. And a lot of black people play a lot of checkers. Hell, they actually playing Scrabble.
I'm a black
Cause
knight. I don't know about anybody else.
so I feel like we lose ourselves um because we crave attention. It's human nature to crave attention, to want recognition for things that you do. That's
Right.
great. But you need to know you still have to put in work.
Exactly.
And you also need to know you don't need to down the next person to be on top.
For
Because
sure.
karma is a bitch.
Okay. It speaks, and it's she speaks. He or she speaks very quickly at times.
Very, very. And so I don't care what your faith is, karma is karma.
Yes.
And I think we forget, and once I say this is general, I think we forget that we are a community and a village.
Right.
And we have to help each other to succeed because
Exactly.
ain't nobody else gonna do it for us. In the literary world, I feel like there are so many um chiefs. Nobody wants to be an Indian. You
Right.
know, nobody wants to be the follower to be a good leader. Because people don't understand sometimes you gotta be a follower to be a leader.
Oh
Good leader.
yes. You got to learn first. You can't just jump up and feel like I'm there.
Right.
I'm ready.
And then you also gotta help those who are in doubt, help pour into them so
That's
they can also do it. So if I'm like me, okay, I'm doing a podcast and somebody else does a podcast, I'm gonna pour into them. I'm
right.
gonna pour as much knowledge and love and whatever into them because I want them to succeed. Now there might be somebody over here like, why would you do that? Because they might bypass you, and what the fuck that's supposed to mean?
Right.
Everybody has their lane.
Exactly.
Nobody is doing nothing the same. Just like narration, you have a beautiful voice for contemporary romance. You have a good voice for romance, suspense, psychological thriller, for sci-fi, anime, things like that. You have that voice. But that's your voice.
Right.
Whereas a Miles Washington or a Jacoby or whoever has a more of a voice for that D. Lewis. He's well rounded. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? He could do romance thriller, psychological, and he could do urban. But the thing about it is helping each other and not gatekeeping. All right. Yeah. I've noticed that a lot of narrators will, especially the black narrators, will pull each other in
Mm.
and say, hey, I'll help you. And that's what it's supposed to be about. When it gets to the point where you can't help each other and y'all gatekeeping because it's like, nah, I want this motherfucker to get my job,
Right.
then what are you really doing it for? Because when the job becomes too much of a job, are you really enjoying it?
Right, exactly. It should be something that you are finding enjoyment in because you want others that you're actually relaying the story to find that enjoyment as well, to draw them into the story that you're presenting. You
Yeah,
know, the only way to do that is to be in a positive and joyful,
exactly.
situation or mindset. But if it's
Exactly.
just to kind of like, nah, no, we keeping that person out. Now I need to keep this for myself. I need to do this. I need to do no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I just feel like I commend you narrators because this is why I want to speak. Because at first I wasn't going to speak to any more narrators.
Really?
No, because I didn't want to step on anybody's toes that might be one the focus is solely on y'all. So
Hmm.
I didn't want to be like, oh shit, I'm doing the authors and I'm also doing the narrators. But I'm so intrigued about what y'all do, how
Right.
y'all do it, why y'all do it, what made you become a narrator. That I mean, shit, hell, I'm curious.
Yeah. Right.
I am literally curious about you guys, and I want to ask you this: how do you make sure that your voice, your tool, is safe?
I I drink a lot of water. I mean, I know. I'm sorry. That's very simplistic or whatnot. But I do karaoke, and I'm saying this because not because like that's how I'm keeping it safe. I'm just saying there are reasons why I do need to keep it safe. But I enjoy life as well, but doing things like that. But I
Mm-hmm.
do realize that it is important. I'm not really a smoker.
Mm-hmm.
um I have my cocktail every now and then, and but I know my limitations, and I realize that if I want to be able to book that next or be able to present the best audition possible, I've got to personally take responsibility for what I intake. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I this is probably, but it might sound a little bit TMI or whatever, but I know that I really can't drink any type of milk or have any type of like ice cream, dairy, things like that, because that creates, excuse me, y'all, a lot of mucus or whatever. And you don't want to have that in your
Yeah.
throat, in your chest, when you're trying to breathe, when you're trying to read a sentence that might need to extend a little bit longer. So I try to make sure that those are things that I'm not either having when I know that I want to do auditions. Again, I do drink a lot of water, and I know I said that to be funny, but and to be serious, I drink a lot of water. um I don't really do a like teas. I think maybe I should probably do some teas,
Yes,
but
honey tea.
I will have to definitely invest more in that. I do Ricola. Yeah, I will do every now and then, but that sometimes that's some sugars or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for that also creates situations of being tired, and it doesn't allow me the opportunity to really do long stints. So again, it's all about what I ingest
Mm.
and being conscious of that. That's the only thing that I pay attention to, and how I feel like I need to protect my gift, and my voice. Uh, Aside from that, again, I take definitely recommendations from others. I watch what they do. If they're talking about,
You
hey,
Lewis said throat coat tea.
yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I was just about to say that. I was just about, yeah, pause. Go ahead. Yeah, I know. You hilarious. But no, I was just about to mention that. A lot of people like swear by that throat coat
Hmm.
for sure. So I know.
So, what advice? Because I'm not gonna keep you any longer. Because one, I've been running around my daughter all day shopping, and that was
Yeah.
enough to fucking make my head hurt.
Oh man.
Um, so, what advice do you give the person who wants to be a narrator, just starting out, just getting to that point? Um, what advice do you give them, and what would be the key word that they should live by?
Persistence, keyword that they should live by. Don't give up. um, there are going to be setbacks. There are going to be moments where you feel like, dang, I've been doing 30 auditions, 40 auditions, and I'm not getting the one, or I'm not. I mean, there were ones that I really felt I have it. Keep going, because who said it? Somebody said that no, that that specific no is just one more closer to the yes,
Mm-hmm.
and is going to be. And when you get that yes, do your utmost, do your best, put your best foot forward, do the things that you need to do, you know learn from others, from a, I don't want to say an elementary standpoint, but understand that there's a process that everyone needs to start off with. And when it comes down to, looking at a script, doing an audition, read that script.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and think I'm just going to do this off the rip, or I'm going to go up in there and just read it just to read it, or yeah, I got this. Have you even looked at the script? Did you even understand perhaps what this character, what that emotion is during that time period? So again, things to keep in mind: persistence is important, but also keep doing the work, and realize that and never give up.
Yeah.
There have been times where, I'm like, I don't know about this. But then someone comes along and gives me, the encouragement. Sometimes you even have to find the encouragement and the, affirmations for your own self to motivate yourself to do it. Because, yeah, it's great to be able to, lean on others, or get that information, or tell someone else, reach out to maybe another narrator or someone else that has that experience. But you also have to find it within yourself, because that person is not going to always be there. You've got to really, utilize, that inner strength that you also have as well. So
So, what is your plan in regards to making sure that you are in contact with these Black authors that you really need to narrate for?
yes,
What is your plan moving forward?
I am going to I'm going to do research, and definitely reach out to them, um, and find out. And definitely, I appreciate the fact that you've given me more of a clarification on the type of genre that I really need to focus on, and that is really going to be successful, not only for what I'm doing, but also for the narration world as well. So honing in into that area, definitely the others as well, but specifically the contemporary. But then also, again, doing the follow up and reaching out to each one of them, whether it be through TikTok, email, sending a message, definitely doing more marketing for myself.
Yeah.
And realizing that it's not, I can't leave it up to somebody else to do, or oh, someone told me and hopefully that person's going to do it. No, I have to be proactive and reach out for myself. Otherwise, no one's going to know. I
Yeah.
have to put my voice out there rather than relying for it on someone else to say, "Hey, I know this author or I know this narrator." It's like, no, I am that narrator. I'm the one that you're looking for. I could do that for you. I will be able to do it for you, and your book is going to come alive. Your book is going to be successful. I want you to be successful.
Yeah. I do want you to reach out to festivals.
Yes,
Um,
that's my goal this upcoming year, next few months, whatever. Yes.
I think a lot of book events miss out on the opportunity to have you narrators actually have tables so
Mm.
people can listen to your work. So, like I said, the black romance reader, you know what I mean.
Yes.
You know what I mean. The Boozy Book Tour,
Yes.
yeah. In Arlington, like we are having is for the narrators and the authors. So, you know,
I'm going to ask of you. I know you have so much going on in your plate and you've done so much, with, allowing me to be a part of your platform. And I thank you very much. But also, I'm going to ask, because, as they say, closed mouth don't get fed. I'm going to ask if you have some suggestions or whatever. You've given me a lot already, but please feel free to reach out and give me some, a list of maybe some other, just one or two people. I'm not asking you, hey,
well,
create
you
me.
have L. Osborne that's on
Yeah.
here. You have Olivia Linden that is on here. Um, You have Solar Black that's on here, and that is a
Oh,
paranormal
cool.
speculative fiction author. You have Nikki Clark, who she's not on here, but Nikki Clark is a speculative fiction, paranormal, romance, sci-fi author.
Is Nikki spelled Nikki?
Yeah, and I like Nikki Giovanni is Nick,
I thought I've seen her name
and
before.
Clark is Clarke.
Oh, E. Good. Awesome. Thank you.
And she's always looking for audiobook narrators for her books, and which her books are amazing.
Okay.
So, and Solar Black, she writes orc
Mm.
romance books. So, I mean, and you have Olivia Linden who writes contemporary romance. You have L. Osborne that writes contemporary romance. The genres that I said your voice fits very well with.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So,
Thank
and
thank
you
you
have
all.
Mo Flames that's on here who writes romantic suspense.
Yep. Those corners.
Solar Black said I would definitely be interested.
Yep.
See,
Listen, I'm here. I'm gonna reach out. Believe me. I'm looking forward to it.
D. Lewis, Jesus Christ, you irritating somehow, don't you? Because he narrates for her.
Oh, damn.
Oh my God, irritating
Wow.
hell. But
Oh my
no, you
God.
have all these people that are in place, and just reach out to them. And what's the worst they can say is no.
No, right, exactly. But
One no is closer to a yes.
correct. And it's the connection being made and let them know that, hey, there's another voice out here that is more than happy to, make their story come alive.
So I think what I'm going to start doing, as someone who talks to authors and film production companies and actors, I am going to invite more narrators. And like I said, I was not going to do it, but I feel like this will be a great way for y'all can get connected.
Yes.
Like somehow, because even if this app goes away, I'm still going to be doing interviews like on YouTube and stuff like that. So it'd be a great way for y'all to all get connected.
I love that.
And
Yes,
also,
definitely see more of me doing a more connecting myself and reaching out because that's definitely, again, like I said,
thank you guys.
yeah. Thank you all
I
so much.
I want you to, and this is just a suggestion.
Mm.
I saw LB doing it. I want you to read some of those authors that I just D. Lewis, I swear for Lord, when I see you again, I'm gonna pop you in the back of your head. Um, but I want you to do this. Those authors that I named to you,
Yes.
I want you to go into their catalogs, find a book, find like one of their most popular books,
Right.
and I want you to read the book, find
Excellent.
find a passage in there or whatever you're gonna do, and record you doing it and tag them in it. There go your
That's
audition video.
before we even depart or anything like that. That's an interesting thing that I want to ask you, but also others, some of the authors as well. Do you all do we need your permission to go off and do that excerpt or to read that? I mean, if we tag you in it, I'm quite sure that you're going to be notified. But I've heard that back and forth. It's like you need to reach out to the author first before you read any portion of their book. Is that something that you can do, or ahead of time, or as long as you're not trying to read like an entire chapter or whatever, just maybe a brief excerpt, 2-3 minutes or something like that? Is that okay? Is that something that is considered acceptable? Because I definitely don't want to. I'm a rule
Reach
follower.
out to the author first.
Okay.
You are, do you, L. Osborne said you can read excerpts from any of her books,
Okay.
but always reach out to them first privately. Like I said, they can either say yes or no.
Understood.
But if they say yes, make sure you tag them
Yes.
and put them, and so people know who it is.
All good.
I said read their preview if it's posted on Amazon. That's good too.
That's a good suggestion. Thank you,
But
Joshua.
also reach out
Yes.
because you don't know what author might feel a certain type of way, even with that.
Correct. And that's one thing that I don't want to step on any toes and do, and I want to respect them in every way, shape, or form. So DL, thank you very much. D Lewis, thank you very much. Sorry if I'm shortening your name. I apologize respectfully. I appreciate your suggestion. I appreciate all of your suggestions and recommendations as well, because it is important to me, and I know that I have reached out in the past. So I just want to make sure that that's the appropriate process to continue to follow. So
Yeah. So you got your homework,
I
sir.
do. I do. And you've given me so much. You blessed me so much. Thank you very, very much. Again, I appreciate you so much giving me the opportunity to be on the platform for the interview. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are so welcome. I expect to see you in somebody's contemporary romance.
Yeah.
I
I
expect
might,
to do that.
I might be, I won't be raw, but I'll definitely give it to you. It really,
Oh,
hey.
well, damn. Okay. Okay. Well, on that note,
Good night.
good night. Look, Olivia, like, ooh. Oh, God. Y'all are funny as hell.
Oh man, I love y'all. Thank you very much for all of everything, your support and everything.
Those, why I can't get one of those?
Ooh, what?
I want one.
Oh boy. How do you feel?
Don't try to skip out of here now.
Oh dang.
See, this is the bullshit I be talking. I feel neglected.
Oh no.
I feel neglected.
I am
But
definitely
no.
not the one.
But y'all have a good night. I'll probably be on live later on tonight. While I'm doing my facial routine. Everybody knows it takes me about 45 minutes to even get myself ready for bed. So
Oh, awesome. Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
see y'all.